Welcome back, everybody. Yes, I'm a little late getting back to all of you. Yeah, we had Thanksgiving pop up in the middle of everything and had to deal with family stuff, but here we are in the good old Crimson Ghost mask room. Today I'm going to be lazy and not set up the desk, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a great show. We've got some killer scores that showed up. Finally! This is going to be part 2 of the Jordu Shell episode. Remember I did the first one about a couple weeks ago or so, maybe 3 weeks ago, I don't know. But Jordu sent me the rest of my masks, and I'm looking at them right now, and they are super, super cool. We're going to dig right into them in a second. Also, I got a really rare casting of a really rare mask, and I had Jordu finish it, and it is spectacular. It's actually a Death Studios piece, and you guys are not going to believe what it is. It's sitting right here, and it's gorgeous. But not only are we going to take a look at that stuff, we're going to look at one more mask that showed up today, straight from Indianapolis, Indiana, driven right to my front door from a friend of mine that bought it brand new back in 1982. Yes. It's from a movie. It's really hard to get your hands on one of these, and they sell for a lot of money. And it's orange. What could that be? Yes, we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. Looking back at the Independence wall, I like to call it now. This used to be the Don Post wall, but all the Post stuff is behind me. This wall is, to me, incredible because it's lots of weird stuff. So weird that some of it is actually from a line called the WEIRDOM line. Yes, by Jordu Shell, back when he was in his late teens, 18, 19, 20 years old. We got some WEIRDOM masks here by Jordu. We got his alien warrior. We've got his werewolf with the blood coming down. We've got his swamp creature. We've got the space queen. We've got the Venusian alien. But oh my God, look at these babies. These arrived finally. I've been waiting for these to come from Jordu, and I'm telling you, they are gorgeous, and it was well worth the wait. The story behind these is, yes, they're from Jordu's old WEIRDOM days. He had vintage blanks of these 3 masks. The first is an original hybrid. This was a blank casting Jordu had stuffed away in storage, foam filled many years ago. That's old foam, guys. But this sucker is huge. The hybrid is actually... Ashley Brown texted me, "What are you doing for your birthday?" I have reservations at the Girl and the Goat. Oh, that's a good place. Let me put this on silent, though. Her and Pete want to take me out for my birthday. So, where was I? Yes. Hybrid is actually available through Trick or Treat Studios these days, but this is the original from the old days of Jordu. And let me pull him down carefully. I had some paper behind his head. This is a big original mask. Trick or Treat Studios sells hybrids. You'll notice the neck line on them is much different. Like they're trimmed differently around the bottom, so you could tell instantly this is not one of the Trick or Treat Studios pieces. I don't think they're this big. Someone tried telling me they were close to size in this, but the person that said that is not in this room seeing how big this damn thing is. It's huge. I have a feeling that this is much larger. I would like to get one of the Trick or Treat Studios versions just to see how big theirs is. Either way, this thing's massive, and the paint job. So Jordu told me these were all blanks. Not this. These were blanks. And he said, how about I paint them up the old way, like I would have done in the 80s? I'm like, hell yes. He painted them up the old way, but I'm telling you, I think he actually made them nicer than they would have been in the late 80s, because he did it. Of course, they're gorgeous paint jobs by Jordu, but I think he went a little farther than he would have back then when he was a teenager. These just look spectacular, all three. But yeah, that hybrid is sick. It's so fucking big. It's got nice veining in the neck. See that? Can you see the veining? Most of these masks in here are not touching the back wall. They're not usually they're not touching the mask next to them either. All right, so hybrid. We should get the damn color Xeroxes. Let's go grab them. And we're back. Carol, can we borrow your head? Great. So, oh my God. Now, the hybrid is not in the color Xeroxes I have here. I may have another WEIRDOM catalog somewhere, but the hybrid is not present in these. But the next mask we're going to talk about is, and that is the good old Moon Beast. This is a really cool mask that was made by Jordu when he was young, and he did a great job on the sculpture of this way back when. Look at this thing. I love the weird egg shape to his head. And he once again said, oh, how would I paint it up the old way? Because his paint jobs now are just nuts, you know, over the top. Superior detailing where they look real, you know, but this is probably a fast paint job for him, you know, compared to what he does now. But still, it's awesome. It's gorgeous. He got a little paint. That's like paint, I think, from a brush or something that accidentally touched him. I thought about trying to at least put a little white over that, like a rub, just to hide that scuff. But it's just it's a scuff from like a paintbrush or something. I don't care because it doesn't matter. The thing is amazing. And the mouth has that nice gloss to it. That shininess. Like, this thing is so cool. But never ever thought I would have one of his old Moon Beast masks in here. Let alone a vintage pull. That's the cool thing. These are old pulls. It ain't like he took the mold out and poured new ones. No, they were just laying around. I have photos of all these when they were blanks, and that's how I bought them from him. He goes, hey, I got these blanks, and if you're interested, and we came to an agreement on price, and man, he really treated me right with the paint jobs. You know, to have Jordu paint for you or sculpt, I mean, you're talking, it ain't cheap. You get what you pay for, obviously. He's a master at what he does. But he really took care of me on pricing with painting these things, and I couldn't be happier. Which will lead us to the third and final Jordu piece in this Jordu Part 2. Jordu Part 2 video. This one he dubbed the name Helmet Alien in our recent discussion back and forth. He just called it Helmet Alien. I don't know if that's the old name for it. It's not in the Xerox sheets I have here, but this mask is really, really neat. I posted this in my Facebook group and guys were going crazy over it. Check this dude out. He's like a cyborg type, you know, alien with metal helmet and spinal pieces coming out of him. Just really, really cool and different, you know? Look at that. It's a real bold flesh color he used on this piece too, which I love. Nice painted eyes. They look like glass eyes at first glance, but they're not. But this Helmet Alien, it was a vintage pull, and I think it's just really thick. He's not foam filled. He's just super thick, man. That being said, he's still big. He's got a lot of great size. He's got great size to him for being thick. Usually the thicker the pull, the smaller the mask. Not in this case. It's got great size, but I've never seen one of these ever. And when he sent me the blank, you know, in blank form, I'm like, it's cool. You know, I was like, I guess I'll buy it. Now that it's finished, I'm crazy about it. I love the blue tones he put on some of the helmet parts too. It's really something I never would have thought of, you know, when painting a metal helmet like that. But see the little digital display on the side? He faked that. Stop texting. It looks real fakey, like a little digital display with the colors he used. But what a cool, cool mask. And those three are going to complete the Jordu Part 2 video. We've been waiting for them to show up. And now, let's start from the other end of this row. Let's see how many Jordu WEIRDOM pieces we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8 of them there. I don't see any others that are WEIRDOMs. Oh, whoa. Okay, hold on. We're not done. There's another one that showed up. And that's not all. I have a lot of them on the floor here of WEIRDOM stuff. So, yeah, there's 8 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Coming back down to the floor. All right. If you remember, in the last Jordu, the first part of this series on Jordu, I was talking about the Plutonian alien. Remember this dude from the first video? He is on the Color Xerox catalog sheet. I scored a second one of these, all right? This is a very rare mask. However, he had a second copy that this young guy bought who was all gung-ho to collect independent masks from the OGs in the hobby that made the masks back in the day. And he was so excited to get his hands on these masks. And then within 2 months, dumps them all. So just another weird thing in this hobby where people have this fake excitement for something. And this, you know, fake, they want to show them off. Like, look what I got. Oh, I talked to him on the phone and he told me stories of the old days. And oh my God, everybody, I'm just so into masks and I'm more into them than you are because I call the people and bother them at their houses, only to dump the masks 2 months later. You know, it's so weird when people are so fake like that in this hobby, you know. But the good part is they sell the masks and then lots of times they will end up here. So that's the original copy. The second copy is right next to him. And it is the same mask. At first glance, it would look like it was a different mask, but that's the same mask. And it's so weird how... Oh, shit, don't fall. Come on. It's weird how different they are. And it has to do with just... This one's a thick copy on the left. This one's thinner and softer. The softer version, the nose is like wider. And this is just kind of, it's not shriveled. It's just, it's not stuck that way, but it just kind of dried that way. I want to say dried, but you know what I mean? It's formed that way from the way it has been sitting all these years. But I kind of like the difference in the way they look. It almost looks like a male and female version, doesn't it? But that's the same exact mask, same sculpture. Looking completely different from one another. This is the new one I got up for sale shortly after someone was jumping for joy after scoring such a wonderful rare piece that they just had to have, only to dump it within 2 months. So I got my hands on it. Thank goodness it's in the right home now. And look at that. Pretty cool, huh? My plans are, so aside the 8 Jordu pieces up there, we've got the tri-eye here, the really rare tri-eye from the last video. We got these 2 dudes. We've got his little rotted corpse back there. That's a Jordu rotted corpse. We've got his boogeyman there. We've got his Cyclops here. We've got his other cyborg. So that makes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 really rare Jordu shell pieces here. Man, that's wild. I never thought I'd have that many WEIRDOM pieces, you know, in this collection, but they started coming out of the woodwork, thankfully. And I mean, they're just neat as hell. Like, yeah, they're not the caliber of Jordu's work now, but that's why I like them, because they look like they're from the 80s. You know, they've got that old school vintage look, and that's the stuff I love so much. So my plans are, with a lot of these, is to foam fill them and really preserve them, and make sure they're here for a long, long time. They definitely deserve it. Moving on. So what should we talk about next? Next, we should talk about the Death Studios piece that I scored as a rare blank. An old school blank popped up of one of the rarest Death Studios masks of all time, known as MEGAS. And I kept telling everybody on my Facebook, I said, listen, I showed a picture of the blank, and I go, listen. This doesn't mean blanks are available. It doesn't mean anybody's selling blanks or they're selling castings. I just want you to know, one vintage blank surfaced of this MEGAS, which is one of the rarest Death Studios masks there is, from 1985. I think it's from 85. And it was on the cover of a magazine called Questar. I have the magazine upstairs. I'll show you what that magazine looks like. That magazine cover definitely inspired this mask to be sculpted. And Jeff made them in small numbers, as far as I know. And I was given one by my buddy Dante a couple years ago. But it's one he wore on Halloween night, and he cut the mouth of it out, because it's like a human's face. On part of the mask, you'll see like the mouth and nose. But he cut the mask out, and so his own face was exposed. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Hang on. All right, let's hold on, guys. First we'll get Dante's old one out, and then I'm going to show you the amazing one I've got. So, and there is an original out there. There's an original in my buddy Dino's collection that is phenomenal. So this is the original, missing the mouth and nose. You know, and at the time when Dante trimmed that, the mask wasn't worth anything. It was just an old Death Studios mask that was cool, and he made a cool... I always laugh at the old picture of him wearing it on Halloween. It's funny, but it made a good costume, you know. Little did he know, this would become one of the rarest Death Studios pieces of all time. That being said, when I had Jordu... So I sent the blank to Jordu, the other one. I said, do me a favor. I said, can you make a mold of just the mouth? Okay, just the mouth. And he did that for me. So I've got that coming, just a little mouth and nose, where I hopefully will be able to splice it together with this mask and at least have a complete original MEGAS here. Now, the one I'm about to show you is absolutely gorgeous, and this is what they looked like when they were brand new. Hold on. Jordu painted this thing for me and added the lenses and added the tubing, and it is unbelievably beautiful. Look at that. That is MEGAS, and it looks glorious. Look at that sucker, man. And this was the vintage blank I got my hands on. It was the only blank. And he really did it justice, because he knew exactly what it should look like. He knew the old MEGAS from the catalog, and I'll tell you what, it's like perfect copy. That is one mask I never thought I would have looking like this. Anyway, I've had this one for a while. But my God, look at that. Very, very, very cool. So, Megas meet Megas. You know, I've got that magazine, but I never read it. I'll have to read if there's a story attached to that cover art. I really don't know. I know one of the guys that put that magazine out. He's in the groups. I know who he is, I should say. And I should ask him more about the artwork and the story behind that cover showing that character. All right, what else can I show you guys? This one, guys, this skull, this hooded skull right here is pretty neat. I was given this mask recently, and this is supposed to be a prototype from Be Something Studio. Not the mask itself, but the hood choice here was something that I guess they were messing around with at the factory, trying different, you know, materials and whatnot. And I was told it was a prototype. And it looks really cool with this hood. Like, I love it. I think it's pretty badass. It looks like a Grim Reaper. And I like this stuff attached to it. I think it works very well, and they should have made them like this, you know. I don't think they did, but really, really neat. He's aged. He's got this, you know, burnt, rusty look to him, but it only adds to the look of that old skull. If it was bright white, I would still love it, but like bone looking. But I don't know. Sometimes I think about fixing that and painting it up better, but it being toned and aged, I think it just adds to it. So pretty awesome. All right, now, yes, I'm going to show you a mask that just came here today. It just arrived. It's a major score, major score. Like I said, it's from 82. It's from a movie. It's a Halloween mask that's very sought after, and it's bright orange. Yeah, it's a pumpkin, but it's not that one. No. Another Don Post pumpkin head arrived today. Take note, this one has the 83 care tag. The blue and white care tag is 1983. Just like the one on the witch, just like the one on that skull. That's the matching trio there. The one that showed up today, though, has a tag from 1982. Yes, let's get this sucker out. My buddy came to visit today with his wife. We talked down here for a couple hours looking at the masks. He's an old-time mask collector and, you know, Halloween haunt enthusiast. He lived up here years ago. He lives down in Indianapolis now for many years. But he would frequent the same trick shops and magic shops I would when I was a young kid and a teenager. So this pumpkin was bought brand new at Chuck's House of Magic in Homewood, Illinois. God, I would give anything to be able to walk through the doors of Chuck's House of Magic. But this was bought new there. He saved the tags all these years. He kept the tags separately, and I just stuck them back on the mask today. And there it is. Another pumpkin head has arrived to the collection, and I paid him very well on it. You know, I said, dude, they sell for a lot, as you can see out there. I'm not gonna lowball the hell out of them. I said, actually, I think the story was he gave this to his son years ago. His son took very good care of it. It's stuffed with newspaper from 1992. So 10 years after 82. So, you know, yeah, the newspaper wasn't 82 newspaper, it was 92, but it's still in there. It was stuffed properly. It was stored properly. And I said, well, tell your son I'm going to pay him a lot of money for that mask. You know, he's in the groups. He's not blind to the fact that they sell for thousands, at times. And I said, it is what it is. I'm not going to jerk you around. I'll pay him a lot. And he offered the money to his son, and he accepted the offer. So, got us another pumpkin. What else? This is a quickie today, a quick episode. Thanksgiving was great. Oh my God, I ate so much food. It was insane. Had a good time, my brother and I. And we went to my stepdad's house, ate like pigs. What else? Someone just tried buying my Mad Jack from me today or yesterday. They said, would you want to sell that Mad Jack? I said, no, sir. This Mad Jack is one of the rarest, another of the rarest Death Studios masks there is. And Dino and I were talking. He said, you pretty much have the nicest vintage Mad Jack there is. It's got the original eye inserts in it, the original wig. It's got a custom bib. I don't know if Jeff did. I don't think Jeff had anything to do with the bib. I think Frank's Taylor made that little thing up for this thing, but I've had some serious offers on this clown. But the cool thing I was explaining to the guy, the gentleman that reached out to me wanting to know if I would sell it, I said, I've got cool old pictures of this mask sitting in Frank's collection in the late 80s. And it's when I got stuff like that, old photos of stuff that's sitting in front of me, I love it, and I don't want to get rid of something that I think is so damn cool, and I just love. And it's crazy that there's only I've only seen a couple of these things in collections, but I agree with Dino. This is probably the nicest one known out of the few that are existing in the collections. Definitely a tough one, and I've turned down a pretty crazy offer. I think most people would have said, oh my God, sell that clown. I'm like, it's not about the money, you know. Look at all these faces looking back at me here. Oh, I have a guy out there that's in my Facebook group, and he is making, let me see if I can put this tripod up here for a second. It's gonna be a little crooked, guys, but so he is making me custom mask stands. He's 3D printing these mask stands for big masks, and they should be showing up in a few days. And they're a great design, and he is sending me, I think a couple he's sending me for the big masks like this, because when they're big and heavy and they like to topple over, and they're, you know, they could be a pain in the ass to deal with. So I'm going to see how his stands work, and I told him I will promote them on the channel, and you guys should be able to order them from him. And he's also going to make them in regular size, but they're pretty neat. I think they're going to work out well, so that is coming as well. Oh boy, what are you doing, huh? Good boy, huh, fatso? Get out of here. No, get out of there. What else? You know, that's about it. We had to do the final Jordu episode for now. There may be more Jordu stuff coming in the future. Back to the old Rick Stratton 6-finger we've been talking about recently. I found even better photos of an original in old pictures I have, so I need to clean out my paint room, and maybe, just maybe, I'm going to paint this sucker myself. I was thinking of sending it out to a friend to have him do it, but the reason I'm not painting masks is because my paint room is so full of shit. I can barely get in there, but I need to clean it out for winter and at least knock out some restoration work and maybe a repaint on this guy and make him look the way he should, the way he's supposed to. I just don't like this weird repaint that was done to him, and he deserves to be brought back to the way Stratton was painting them, you know, back in the 80s. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, there is one more score that went down this week, and it's not necessarily a new mask. It's a mask. It's a mask I've had here for a long time. It's a very special mask, but I upgraded to a different copy of the mask. If you guys remember the old 60s Lugosi Dracula, the super rare one, see the white one there? Well, the original 60s Don Post mask is so rare, only one of them existed all these years, right? It's what is the house? It's the Hollywood Horrors line. Anyway, it has a zipper in the back. The original doesn't look like this. It's very aged, but the original mask sold for like $20,000. But before it sold, Joel Grossman laser scanned that sucker, okay? And made a run, a beautiful run of probably one of the coolest projects I've ever seen go down in the Don Post world to resurrect an old mask, okay? They laser scanned that rare mask where only one piece was known to exist of the lost mask, right? They took the laser scan, they made a positive. They had Norman Cabrera, special effects master Norman Cabrera, sculpt the vintage style hair on the mask and the eyebrows. They casted 13 of them, okay? Beautiful castings were taken, painted by Tara Malouf, who is one of the Don Post painters that was working at the factory painting things beautifully. She was hired onto this project to meticulously paint these with the vintage, I think the same vintage airbrush they used to paint the originals in the 60s. Like, this project went deep, you know, to make sure everything was as nice and as cool and as awesome as it could be on the 13 copies. I had number 9, which I just sold. And where I'm going with this is, we had 4 guys on a 4-way text the other night. Norman Cabrera was one of them. My buddy Evil was another one. Me and my buddy David out in California. And Norman had the prototype. Okay, there were 13 in the run, but there was also a prototype with purple lips. And Norman said, I'm thinking of selling my prototype of the Lugosi. And these were very expensive at the time when they came out. The 13, you know. And I said, listen, if you're going to sell the prototype, I will list my number 9 copy. I'll probably sell it quickly, and then I would like to buy the proto from you, which was even more money than what I sold mine for. So he's like, all right, see what you can do. At the same time, my buddy Evil posted it for sale in his group. Oh, shit. He posted it for sale in his mask group. And his guys were going, oh, my God, I got to try to get that. I want to buy it. I'm like, oh, shit. No, you're not. Because I'm trying to do this deal, you know. And thankfully, mine sold real quick. And I was able to pay Norman the money and get the mask right away with no issues. But this is it. This is the purple. The only one with hand-painted purple lips. The others were airbrushed. What I will say is the 13, you know, this is a prototype. So the 13 production pieces are a tad bit nicer, like the paint. I mean, you're talking a tiny, tiny bit. Probably because the lips are hand-painted on this one. But this one definitely is, it says P1 out of 13. So prototype number 1. Signed by everybody, including Norman Cabrera. The others have a different stamp on them. They don't have the same stamp as this. But that is the absolute prototype in that special run of Resurrection masks. Cast thin like the original. This is something that the hardcore Don Post guys can appreciate. I think most people would not want to pay the money that these cost to acquire if one does pop up for sale. I sold mine for $1,200 just so you can get an idea. You have to be a lover, I think, of Don Post and be into the history of Don Post and really know what the original was to appreciate these and probably want to pay that kind of money for one of these, you know. But only 13 were made, and if you're lucky, maybe one of them will surface someday. and you'll be able to get your hands on it. But I'm telling you, they're beautiful. They're beautiful, and it is that lost mask that I guarantee you probably will never ever see, except the one existing copy that we know of. So that's all. I figured I would share that and just touch on that today. But we've got more to come. I still never did a video on the two pieces on the pedestals, did I? We've got to talk about those because there's something really cool about that set that I don't think a lot of you know, and we will probably dig them out for one of our next episodes coming up. Yes. So that's all. Quick episode here on the floor of the mask room tonight. Thank you, and I'll see you guys real soon. Oh, I just did an episode of the Static Age Misfits podcast. So go on my Instagram. I'm following the Static Age podcast. You can find it through my Instagram. Shut up! And check it out. The gentleman that runs the podcast, it's a Misfits related podcast. He invited me on to talk about my love for the Misfits, my love for the monsters, and of course the mask collection. So it's going to go live tomorrow, and maybe it's something you may want to listen to. All right. Good night, and see you guys soon.